glad that you joined us this morning, and we're so excited to sing with you. So for our first song, we're going to sing Let Us Come Together. So get someone next to you who you can clap hands with.
Let's sing about building our house on the rock, just like the wise man.
We should sing. So let's sing. I'm going to sing, sing, sing.
I'm gonna sing, sing, sing.
I'm gonna shout, shout, shout. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna shout. Praise the Lord. When those gates are open wide, I'm gonna say that. Jesus will always be in our hearts. So let's sing There is a Flag Flying High.
There is a flag flying high in the castle of my heart, in the castle of my heart, in the castle of my heart. There is a flag flying high in the castle of my heart, for the King is in residence there. So let it fly in the sky, let the whole world know, let the whole world know, let the whole world know. So let it fly in the sky, let the whole world know that the King is in residence there. There is a flag flying high in the castle of my heart, in the castle of my heart, in the castle of my heart. Joy is a flag flying high in the castle of my heart, for the King is in residence there. So let it fly in the sky, let the whole world know, let the whole world know, let the whole world know. So let it fly in the sky, let the whole world know that the King is in residence there. Love is a flag flying high in the castle of my heart, in the castle of my heart, in the castle of my heart. Love is a flag flying high in the castle of my heart, for the King is in residence there. So let it fly in the sky, let the whole world know, let the whole world know, let the whole world know. So let it fly in the sky, let the whole world know that the King is in residence there. All right, great job. Now, I want to tell you guys some good news and some bad news. The good news is you guys are singing really well, and we have really had a good time leading you guys and helping you sing and helping you learn about Jesus. But the bad news is that we're not going to be able to lead this anymore, and we're not going to be a Sunnyside anymore. They have asked us to help at a different church. And so we have some things that we want you to know. Joshua can go first.
We will miss you, but you can always come visit us at Tabernacle Church.
I have really enjoyed being here with you guys, and I will miss you.
See you around.
I really enjoy singing with you guys.
You know, you guys will always be in our hearts and in our prayers, even as we're going to a different church, and we just love you guys so much.
Since we are not moving that far away, I want all of you to know that if you still need to talk to us or if you still need to see us, we're close. We can make that happen. So don't forget that we will always love you, we care about you, we will miss you, and we will always be your friends. And we're glad that we'll still be close by, so you'll be able to see some of us at the schools that you go to, and maybe at different Pathfinder events, and different things that the conference puts on. And even if you visit us at Tabernacle, like Joshua said, you'll be able to see us too. So until the next time that we see you guys, we want to say goodbye for now.
Bye. Good morning, boys and girls. Today we will be telling you a story about a mother and her two sons, James and John. And they came to Jesus. They came to Jesus, and the mother said, "Lord, I have a request." Then Jesus said, "What is your request?" The mother then asked, "In your kingdom, please let my two sons sit in places of honor next to you, one on your left and one on your right." But Jesus answered them by saying, "You do not know what you are asking for. Are you able to drink from the bitter cup of suffering I am about to drink?" "Oh yes," they replied, "we are able." Jesus told them, "You will indeed drink from my bitter cup, but I have no right to say who will sit on my left and who will sit on my right. My Father has prepared those places for the ones he has chosen." Now, when the 10 disciples found out about what James and John's mother had asked, they were furious and upset, for they did not want them to be leaders in Jesus' kingdom. Then Jesus called them together and rebuked them. He said, "You know that the rulers in this world lord it over their people and officials and flaunt their authority. But whoever wants to be first among you must be last, and whoever wants to be a leader must be your servant. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many."
So the lesson of the story is that we should not want power, but we should just praise God and not worry about power.
Hey boys and girls, Teacher Marlene here. I have a little illustration for you today. So I have with me here some paper clips. Can you see that? And these paper clips make me think of you and me. We are all individuals, but we're all linked to someone, right? We have friends, we have family, we like to hang out and be together with. And our church family too, I feel like we're pretty close and connected. And so that's what these kind of represent, okay? Now I will put these paper clips here on this paper. And you know what happens when I let go? You're just staying right there. And you know what? They are all following something. Something is leading them and guiding them, isn't it? Do you know what it is? I bet you guessed it. I have a magnet. Pretty strong magnet. Now here's a cool thing, right? Even though you can't see the magnet, paperclip can't see the magnet, but it still follows wherever that magnet leads it. Well, you know, the magnet is kind of like God. We don't necessarily see him, but we can feel him. We can feel him guiding us and the Holy Spirit guiding us to do the right thing. And if we are wise like these paper clips, we will follow wherever God leads us, despite the fact that we can't see him. But we will feel his Holy Spirit in our hearts, and we will follow him wherever he leads us, and hopefully together with our community, our friends and family. But you know, even if it's just one or two, that's okay. Let's follow God.
Hi everyone, it's Aunt Fernita. Today's story is called Words to Remember. The memory verse is from Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 13. It says, "Love the Lord your God and serve him with all your heart." Today's message is we worship God when we choose to obey him. Do your parents ever say things like, "Don't forget to take out the trash," or "Don't forget to feed the dog"? They are reminding you to obey. The children of Israel were about to enter the Promised Land without Moses. What would he say to them? Moses looks longingly out over the Jordan River into the Promised Land. He is sad because he won't be going there. He pleads with God to let him enter that land with the people, but God says to Moses, "Speak no more of this. You may view the land, but you may not enter it." So Moses doesn't ask about it anymore. He accepts God's wisdom and will. But now Moses thinks about the children of Israel. Who is going to lead them if he can't? Who is going to care about them? He prays and asks God to provide a good leader. God tells Moses that Joshua will lead the people. Joshua has worked beside Moses since Aaron died. Moses knows Joshua is a man of wisdom and faith, so Moses is happy with God's choice. God has one last thing for Moses to do. Many years have gone by since the people first heard the 10 Commandments at Sinai. Most adults living now were small children then or hadn't even been born. They could not have understood what was happening at Sinai. Few of them were old enough to know what it meant. So God tells Moses to proclaim these laws once more. God wants his people to follow his law as they settle into their new land. And so Moses calls the people together. Moses' face is lit up with a holy light. His clear and wise eyes look out over the thousands of people standing before him. These are his last words to them. With much emotion, he begins repeating their history. They had been slaves in Egypt, and God had rescued them. He reminds them of the great miracles God had performed for them. He tells how they had escaped through the Red Sea. And during all their travels, God had provided food and water. He had guided them by a pillar of fire and cloud. He tells them of the sins of their parents who had grumbled, complained, and worshipped idols. He reminds them of their travel in the desert for 40 years before they could go into Canaan. Moses also talks of the great patience and love of God toward them, of his forgiveness and grace. Moses tells them that the rules God has given them are wiser than all the rules of the other nations. They are to be an example of God's wisdom. They are to care for the other nations. They are told of the wonderful things awaiting them in Canaan. Then Moses goes over the laws with them again. He is still afraid that they will forget and stray away from God. So he reminds them of the wonderful blessings that will be theirs if they obey God. He tells of the blessings of food, happy families, good leaders, and protection against enemies. But Moses also tells of the curses of losing their land if they disobey. They will have no peace or safety, and they will live in fear and sorrow and with diseases. Then Moses closes with a song. You can read it in Deuteronomy 32. It tells of the wonderful way God had shown his love in the past, and it tells of future events and the final victory of Christ's second coming. Moses says, "Command your children to obey carefully all the words of this law. They are not just idle words. They are your life." The people are to memorize this song, to teach it to their children. They are to remember it always. It will help them remember what God has done for them. After this, Moses climbed Mount Nebo in the land of Moab. There he looked one more time into the Promised Land. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in Moab, as the Lord had said.
Created and produced by Falvo Fowler. This podcast is read by Franita Buddy Fullwood for Gracelink.net. Animation and artwork by Giogo Godoy. Audio is post-produced by Faith To at Studio El Piso in Singapore. The theme music is by Clayton Kinney. The audio engineer was Maurice Bailey.